What you hear about fast food will change your appetite for it. I'm not here to tell you never to eat it again. I still do sometimes. But if you knew what I knew, if you saw what I saw during the 2 years I spent working in fast food, you'd at least think twice before pulling into that drive-thru. Because the truth is, those meals you grab on the go, those cheap, convenient, comforting foods, they're not what you think they are. And no, I'm not talking about the calories or the chemicals. I'm talking about what happens behind the counter. The things customers never see. The shortcuts, the secrets, the things we weren't supposed to talk about. But I don't work there anymore. So now, I'll tell you everything. I got the job when I was 19. I won't name the company, but you've definitely heard of it. One of the giants, the kind with a drive-thru that's always busy and a menu full of things people don't even need to look at before ordering. It was supposed to be temporary. A way to pay rent, buy groceries, maybe save a little. I told myself I wouldn't stay long, just a few months, until I found something better. But time moves differently in places like that. You work long shifts, deal with constant stress, and get paid just enough to survive, but never enough to leave. Before I knew it, months turned into 2 years, and I had seen things I wish I hadn't. Let's start with the basics. If you think fast food is fresh, it's not. If you think it's clean, it's not. And if you think health inspectors keep everything in check, you're really going to want to sit down for this. I was still new when I first started noticing things. It was a busy night shift, lines stretching out the door, drive-thru backed up, everyone scrambling to keep up. A woman came in, furious, saying her burger had pickles when she asked for no pickles. Simple mistake, right? I went to make her a new one when my shift manager stopped me. Just take them off, he said. She won't know. I stared at him. We can't just do it, he muttered. We're already behind. I hesitated. But the pressure in that place is insane. The expectation is speed over everything. Orders need to be out in seconds, not minutes. Every delay means trouble. So I did it. I peeled off the pickles, rewrapped the burger, and handed it back. She took a bite, smiled, and walked out. And I learned my first unspoken rule of fast food. If the customer doesn't see it, it didn't happen. You know how they advertise hot, fresh food made just for you? Yeah. No. A lot of it is pre-cooked hours before and left in warming trays. Sometimes we're supposed to throw it out after a certain time, but when the place is busy, when managers are watching costs, the rule changes. That burger? It might have been sitting there for an hour. Those fries? Probably refried twice to make them seem fresh. That crispy golden brown look? That's just old grease and a second dip in the fryer. And the best part? If you complain that your food is cold, we don't make a new one. We just microwave it and send it back out. You'd think a kitchen serving hundreds of people a day would be immaculate. You'd be wrong. By the time night shifts roll around, the floors are coated in grease, the counters are sticky, and the soda machines? Don't get me started on the soda machines. I once watched a guy pull apart the ice dispenser for a deep clean, and what was inside made me gag. Black sludge. Mold. Gunk that had been building up for God knows how long. And guess what? That's normal. Same with the ice cream machine. You ever wonder why it's always broken? It's not. It's just so filthy inside that we're not allowed to serve from it until it's cleaned. And cleaning takes hours, so instead they tell you, sorry, it's not working today. But here's the worst thing I ever saw. It was a Saturday night, just before closing. I was working the fry station when I saw it. A rat. Big, fast, darting under the fryer like it lived there. I freaked out. I told my manager, expecting him to shut everything down, call pest control, do something. He barely looked up. Just don't let the customers see. That was it. That was his entire reaction. And suddenly, I realized, if the health inspector isn't around, nothing matters. The fryers were still running. The burgers were still being made. People were still eating. And I stood there, watching, stomach turning, as if I had finally seen behind the curtain. I lasted 2 years before I quit. 2 years of watching rules get ignored, corners get cut, food served that should have been thrown out. And here's the thing. This isn't just one location. I talked to people from other chains, other stores, and they all had the same stories. This is the system. Fast food isn't just bad for you, it's built to be bad. For the workers, it's brutal. Long shifts, impossible speed demands, low pay, and constant pressure to do things the wrong way because doing them the right way takes too long and costs too much. For the customers, it's even worse. Because you don't see what happens behind the counter. You just take your food and trust it's what they say it is. If you've ever worked in fast food, you already know what I'm about to say. If you haven't, Well, let's just say you're better off not knowing. I spent 2 years behind that counter, and let me tell you, everything you think you know about fast food is a lie. It's not just about cheap ingredients. It's not just about overworked employees or long hours. It's about the way the entire system is designed to cut corners, to maximize profit, and to make sure nobody cares enough to fix it. Because if they did, fast food would collapse overnight. People think fast food is all about speed, and they're right. But here's what nobody tells you: it's fast because it has to be, not because it should be. You ever wonder how your order comes out in less than a minute? How a place making thousands of burgers a day never seems to run out of ingredients? It's because we aren't making your food fresh. We're assembling it. And sometimes, we're recycling it. Let's start with the grill station, the place where burgers are supposedly flame-grilled to perfection. Here's how it really works. Burgers are pre-cooked in batches and left in heated trays for as long as possible. The official rule says they should be thrown out after a set time. The unofficial rule? Keep them until they don't look edible anymore. If a customer asks for fresh, we pretend throwing an old patty back on the grill for a few seconds and handing it out like it was just made. And if a burger falls on the floor? I've seen plenty of managers pick it up, dust it off, and put it right back on the bun. Why? Because wasting product is worse than serving you something filthy. Now let's talk about fries. Everybody loves fast food fries, right? Crispy, golden, salty, the perfect snack. Except, that golden color? That isn't fresh oil. That's old oil that's been reused way too many times. When it starts turning dark brown, we just filter it and keep using it. You think we dump out the fryer at the end of every night? Nope. We're told to stretch it for as long as possible. And if fries sit too long under the heat lamps, we just throw them back in the fryer to make them seem fresh again. I've seen fries get refried 3 times before finally making it into a customer's bag. At that point, they're basically grease-covered cardboard. But you still eat them, don't you? Because they smell good. Because they taste familiar. Because that's the illusion. You ever go to a fast food place and try to order ice cream only to be told, "Sorry, the machine is broken." I used to think that was a joke. Then I started working there. And now? I wish the machine was actually broken. Because the truth is, the ice cream machine isn't broken most of the time. It's just disgusting inside. Cleaning it properly takes hours that nobody has because we're always short-staffed and behind schedule. So instead of actually cleaning it, the machine gets left in a half-broken, half-functional state. If a customer complains enough, we'll scrape the sludge out, mix in some fresh soft serve, and pray nobody notices. That machine? It's a breeding ground for bacteria. And people eat from it every day. If you really want to know how bad fast food gets, work the late-night shift. That's when the worst things happen. Roaches come out. I've seen them crawling behind the soda machine, under the prep tables, even inside the food storage shelves. If a rat shows up, nobody stops working. The rule is simple: just don't let the customers see. When the trash overflows, we don't take it out right away. We stack it in the back, letting old food rot in bags while we keep serving fresh meals out front. And if the health inspector comes in, we pretend none of this happens. Because the managers know when inspections are scheduled. So on those days, everything is scrubbed spotless and we act like the place is perfect. But the second they leave, back to normal. Because nobody actually cares about safety. They care about profits. Fast food isn't just about bad food. It's about bad conditions for everyone. Employees work 8, 10, sometimes 12-hour shifts with barely any breaks. Schedules change last minute, so you never know when you're working next. People get sick from breathing in grease all day, but calling out means losing hours you desperately need. And the customers? You're paying for convenience. But what you're really getting is food made by overworked, exhausted, underpaid workers who stopped caring a long time ago. Because caring doesn't pay the bills. Caring gets you fired for working too slow. Caring means you don't last long in this job. Here's the craziest part. Now that I know everything, now that I've seen the worst of it, I still catch myself pulling into a drive-thru sometimes. Why? Because it's cheap. Because it's easy. Because it's addictive, not just the food, but the habit of grabbing something quick and not thinking about it. And that's exactly how they want it to be. Fast food doesn't have to be good. It just has to be good enough. Just enough salt, grease, and sugar to keep you coming back. Just enough warm nostalgia to make you ignore the reality. And as long as people don't think too hard about what they're eating, nothing will ever change. Most people don't think too hard about where their food comes from. That's what fast food relies on. You order, you pay, you eat, that's it. No questions, no second thoughts. Just cheap, quick, familiar food that keeps you coming back. But when you've spent hundreds of hours behind the counter watching how it's really made, seeing the shortcuts, the tricks, the things we aren't supposed to talk about, you start to realize something. Fast food isn't food. It's a product. And just like any product, it's made in the cheapest, fastest, and most manipulative way possible. You think it's about flavor? No. It's about chemicals, timing, and psychology. And once you see behind the curtain, you'll never eat it the same way again. One of the biggest lies in fast food is the idea that you're getting something fresh. In reality, most fast food ingredients are pre-cooked, frozen, or heavily processed long before they ever reach the store. Here's how it works. The meat arrives in giant frozen blocks. The grillers don't cook it in the traditional sense, they just reheat it to the right temperature. The bread? That's weeks old before it gets to you. It's loaded with preservatives to keep it soft long after normal bread would go stale. The lettuce and tomatoes are often cut at the beginning of the day and left in trays for hours. If they start looking dry, we spray them with water to revive them. Ever notice how your chicken nuggets always taste the same? That's because they're engineered to be uniform, not just in shape, but in texture and flavor. The chicken inside isn't just chicken, it's a mix of processed meat, filler, and flavor additives designed to taste exactly how your brain expects it to. And if something does go bad, we don't throw it out unless we have to. If a bun is stale, we steam it to make it soft again. If cheese slices start sticking together, we pull them apart and use them anyway. Because food waste means lost money, and in fast food, profit comes first. Ever wonder why fast food always tastes better than what you make at home? It's not just the salt and grease. It's science. The food is designed to trigger cravings, to hit the perfect combination of fat, sugar, and salt that makes your brain want more. The fries? They're coated with dextrose, a type of sugar, so they caramelize and taste extra good. The buns? They're slightly sweet, making them more addictive than regular bread. The cheese? It's not real cheese, it's processed to melt perfectly and blend with the flavors. The sodas? They're sweeter than what you'd buy in a bottle. Fast food fountains adjust the syrup levels so you get maximum sugar per sip. Everything from the crunch of the fries to the way the burgers are stacked is designed to make your brain associate fast food with pleasure. It's not an accident. It's a formula. And once you're hooked, it becomes a habit. Every fast food chain offers healthier options: grilled chicken, salads, wraps. Here's the truth. They're not really healthy. Most of them are just as bad, if not worse, than the regular menu items. The grilled chicken is pre-cooked, reheated, and injected with flavor enhancers. The salads are loaded with preservatives to keep the lettuce from wilting. The dressings have so much sugar and fat that they cancel out any health benefits. The low-fat options usually have extra sodium or artificial additives to make up for the flavor loss. And the worst part? Most people order the healthy option with a side of fries or a soda, completely wiping out any benefit. Fast food chains don't care if you eat healthy. They just want to give you the illusion of choice so you feel better about eating there. But at the end of the day, you're still getting scammed. I remember when I first started the job. I actually cared. I tried to be fast, efficient, and accurate. I wanted to do things right, to follow the rules, to give customers what they paid for. That didn't last long. Because after a while, you realize nobody else cares. Managers push speed over quality. Workers are so overworked and underpaid that they stop trying. Customers don't notice or don't care, they just want their food fast. Eventually, you go numb. You stop worrying about whether the food is fresh. You stop caring about the health violations you see every day. You just get through the shift, collect your paycheck, and leave it behind. And if something goes wrong, you lie. Because if you tell the truth, if you say, "Sorry, that food sat too long, let me make a fresh one," you'll get in trouble for wasting time. So instead, you hand them the same cold burger and pretend it just came off the grill. Because that's the real fast food experience. It's not about making good food. It's about keeping the machine running no matter what. Fast food is a scam, but the real victims aren't just the customers. It's the employees. It's the people working 10-hour shifts with barely a break. It's the teenagers making minimum wage, dealing with rude customers and unrealistic demands. It's the people who can't afford to quit, because fast food chains hire the most vulnerable workers. Young people with no experience. Single parents who need flexible hours. Immigrants who can't afford to complain. They don't just trap customers. They trap their workers too. Because once you're in the system, once you've worked there long enough, you start to believe this is the best you can get. And that's exactly how they want it. Fast food is a business. One that runs on manipulation, exhaustion, and cutting corners. It's never going to be clean. It's never going to be fresh. It's never going to be good for you. Because if it was, it wouldn't be fast food. And as long as people keep coming back, as long as nobody thinks too hard about it, nothing will ever change. The more time I spent working in fast food, the more I realized nothing about it is accidental. The dirty kitchens, the reused ingredients, the impossible schedules. They're all part of a bigger system designed to make sure that food gets served as fast and as cheaply as possible, no matter the cost. And the worst part? It works. Because customers never see what happens behind the counter. And if they did, they'd probably never eat fast food again. Most people assume they eat fast food because it's cheap and convenient. That's only part of the truth. The real reason people keep coming back, even when they know it's bad for them, is because it's designed to be addictive. Here's how. The food is engineered for maximum cravings. Every ingredient in fast food is carefully chosen to hit the perfect combination of fat, salt, and sugar, the three things your brain is wired to crave. That's why fast food tastes so satisfying in the moment but leaves you hungry again soon after. It tricks your body into wanting more. The buns? Slightly sweet. The fries? Lightly coated in sugar before frying. The nuggets? Packed with flavor enhancers. The smell alone is enough to hook you. Ever noticed how you can smell a fast food restaurant from the parking lot? That's not an accident. The air is pumped full of artificial food scents, designed to trigger hunger and make you want to stop in, even if you weren't planning to eat there. The portion trick. You ever wonder why the sizes keep getting bigger? Small used to be small, now it's barely different from a medium. The bigger the portion, the more you eat, even if you weren't that hungry to begin with. And the best part for them? The actual food inside the meal costs almost nothing to make. They just charge you extra for the bigger option, making more money without actually spending more. Fast food isn't just food. It's a product that's been designed to make you want more. And for most people, it works. If you think fast food meat is the same as what you'd buy at a grocery store, you're in for a surprise. The burgers aren't just beef. Technically, they are mostly beef. But they're also packed with fillers, preservatives, and flavor enhancers to make sure they taste the same every single time. That's why a fast food burger never has that irregular, home-cooked texture. It's processed to be uniform, no matter where you buy it. The chicken is even worse. Chicken sandwiches and nuggets? They barely qualify as real chicken. Nuggets aren't just ground-up meat. They're a mix of meat, skin, fat, and binding agents, all blended together to create that perfectly soft texture. Ever notice how nuggets don't have the chewy texture of real chicken? That's because they're pre-mashed and reformed into a shape your brain finds acceptable. And the grilled chicken? It's pre-cooked, frozen, and injected with flavor chemicals before being reheated on the grill. It's not even close to fresh. Fast food fish is the biggest scam of all. The fish in your sandwich or fillet is usually not one type of fish. It's a blend of different types of cheap white fish, pressed into a patty and fried beyond recognition. If you're lucky, you're getting a little bit of real cod or pollock. But mostly, it's the leftovers they couldn't sell anywhere else. And people keep eating it because the flavor enhancers make sure that it tastes right. You've probably heard the joke that fast food workers follow the 5-second rule, meaning if food falls on the floor but gets picked up quickly, it's still safe to eat. Here's the truth. There is no 5-second rule. If food falls on the floor and nobody saw it, it's getting served. If a burger patty lands on the greasy, uncleaned grill station, it's still going in a bun. If fries spill on the floor behind the fryer, some workers will scoop them up and dump them back in the tray. Managers won't stop it. Because if you get caught throwing food away, that's wasting product. And wasting product means lost money. So unless a customer actually sees it happen and complains, that food is getting served. You ever hear stories about people finding bugs, hair, or other nasty surprises in their fast food? It happens more often than you think. And when it does, here's how managers handle it. Deny it. The first reaction is always that's impossible. They act like the customer must be lying. Offer a replacement, not a refund. They'd rather make a new burger than give back money. Because refunds hurt the store's numbers. If the customer makes a scene, call corporate. The only time they take it seriously is if the person refuses to leave or threatens a lawsuit. Even then, corporate will usually try to settle it quietly. And if something really bad happens, like someone actually gets sick from the food, the company's lawyers step in immediately to shut it down. Because at the end of the day, it's cheaper to pay off a lawsuit than to fix the problem. Health inspectors are supposed to keep fast food safe, right? Here's what really happens. The managers always know when the inspection is coming. Extra workers are scheduled that day to make sure everything looks perfect. All the expired food and rotten ingredients are thrown away right before the inspector arrives. The kitchen is deep cleaned for the first time in months. And the second the inspection is over, back to normal. Because nobody actually cares about the rules, they just care about not getting caught. Fast food isn't about feeding people. It's about profit. And as long as people keep buying it, keep eating it, keep ignoring the reality, nothing will ever change. Because at the end of the day, fast food doesn't have to be good. It just has to be good enough to keep you coming back. And for most people, that's enough. If you think you know what's in your food, think again. I spent 2 years in fast food, watching how things were done, seeing what went into every meal, and learning exactly how these places operate. And the truth? Fast food isn't just unhealthy, it's deceptive. They don't just lie about freshness, quality, or ingredients. They lie about everything. And the worst part? Most people never realize it. You ever order a burger that looks perfect in the pictures, juicy patty, fresh lettuce, perfectly melted cheese, only to unwrap it and get something flat, messy, and disappointing? That's because fast food advertising is fake. The burgers in commercials aren't cooked the way we cook them. They're painted, glued, and arranged by food stylists to look perfect. The grill marks? They're drawn on with the branding iron. The buns? Lightly sprayed with water to make them look fresh. The cheese? Melted with a hairdryer and carefully placed with tweezers. The sauces? Injected into the burger with syringes to ooze just right. And when you get the real thing, it's been slapped together in under 30 seconds by an underpaid worker who's making 200 burgers an hour. Because speed is more important than quality. And they know that once you've paid, you're probably not going to complain. Most people don't think about where their drink comes from. You just fill your cup, grab your straw, and go. But the soda machines in fast food places? They're disgusting. The nozzles are rarely cleaned properly, so they build up bacteria and mold. The syrup lines are sticky, filled with old sugar that attracts fruit flies. If you ever see tiny black specks in your drink, that's mold from inside the machine. I once worked a shift where the health inspector showed up unexpectedly. The manager panicked and pulled apart the soda machine for the first time in months. The inside of the nozzles? Black sludge. And guess what? We still served drinks that entire day. Because unless the machine is physically broken, we keep using it. So next time you fill up your soda, maybe think twice. You ever order no pickles and still get pickles? Or ask for extra sauce and get none? Here's why. Fast food workers are set up to fail. Most locations run on a skeleton crew, just enough people to barely keep up but never enough to do the job right. Workers are expected to make a full meal in under 30 seconds. Managers prioritize speed over accuracy because their bonuses depend on it. The reality? Most of the time, the person making your food is exhausted, overworked, and trying to do 5 things at once. And if they mess up, they don't care. Because fixing a mistake means getting yelled at by their boss for slowing things down. So they just wrap it up and move on. Because in fast food, your time is worth more than your satisfaction. If you've ever gotten a burger that smelled off, you weren't imagining it. Fast food meat isn't spoiled, but it's not exactly fresh either. Meat is stored in massive freezers for months before it ever reaches the grill. If it starts to go bad, we mask the smell with extra seasoning. If it's been sitting too long, it gets wiped down and thrown back in the rotation. And the worst trick? Steaming old patties to make them seem fresh again. If a burger has been sitting out too long, instead of making a new one, we steam it for a few seconds to bring back some moisture, so when you bite in, you think it's fresh. It's not. You're just eating reheated leftovers. Fast food chains push their mobile apps like crazy, giving out discounts, free drinks, and exclusive deals. Ever wonder why? Because the app isn't about saving you money. It's about tracking everything you do. When you order through the app, they track what you buy to figure out how to make you spend more. They use location data to see how often you visit. They adjust prices based on demand, so the cost of your favorite meal might go up without you even noticing. They push notifications at key times, like when they know you're near one of their stores or it's around the time you usually eat. The discounts? They're just bait. Because once you start using the app regularly, you're locked into their system and they know exactly how to keep you coming back. Next time you walk into a fast food place, look at the menu carefully. It's designed to trick you. The most expensive items are placed in the center, where your eyes naturally go first. The cheaper options are smaller, duller, and harder to read, so you're more likely to choose the pricier meal. The combo meal isn't always a deal. Sometimes ordering items separately costs the same or less. Limited time offers are designed to create fake urgency, so you feel like you have to try it before it's gone. Everything about the menu is designed to make you spend more even when you don't realize it. Everything about fast food, from the food itself to the way the stores are run to the way the apps and menus work, is designed to get you to spend more, eat more, and come back more often. And most people? They never see it. They think they're making their own choices, but in reality, they're just playing a game that's rigged against them. Because at the end of the day, fast food isn't just unhealthy. It's psychological warfare. And as long as people keep falling for it, nothing will ever change. By now, you probably get it, fast food is a scam. But here's the thing. It's not just the food. It's the marketing, the psychology, the environment, and even the people they hire. Every single part of the industry is designed to make sure you keep eating, keep spending, and keep coming back. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize it. Ever notice that every time you go to a fast food place, the workers look exhausted, miserable, or just completely checked out? That's not an accident. Fast food intentionally understaffs every shift, and here's why. Fewer workers equals lower labor costs. The company saves money by forcing the smallest possible team to do the work of twice as many people. It keeps employees too exhausted to fight back. If you're working a 10-hour shift with no break, the last thing you're going to do is complain about unfair conditions. It speeds up turnover. Most fast food workers quit within a few months. And guess what? That's what they want. Because if workers don't stay long enough, they never unionize, never demand higher wages, never push for better working conditions. And when you're stuck in a job like that, you start to care less and less. You stop worrying about the quality of the food. You stop double-checking orders. You stop cleaning properly. Because why would you? The company doesn't care about you, so eventually you stop caring about them too. And the customers? They suffer the most. Because the burned-out, underpaid worker making your food is so exhausted, frustrated, and numb that they just want to get through their shift. So if they drop your food on the floor, they might still serve it. If they see mold in the ice machine, they might pretend they didn't. Because fixing those things takes time. And time is the one thing fast food workers don't have. Ever been to a 24-hour fast food place late at night and wondered why it takes so long to get your food even when there's nobody in line? That's because most of these places aren't actually 24 hours. Yes, they're open. But the kitchen? It's half shut down. Most of the equipment is turned off for night cleaning, so workers have to reheat food instead of making it fresh. Since it's a skeleton crew, there's usually only 1 or 2 people handling everything, which means they cut even more corners than usual. If they're out of something, they won't restock until morning. And if you order something complicated in the middle of the night, there's a good chance the worker making it is barely awake, doesn't care, and is just guessing how to put it together. So if you ever get a weird-looking burger at 2 a.m., now you know why. I've already told you how nasty the soda machines are. But the ice machines? They're even worse. Most fast food ice machines are barely ever cleaned, because cleaning them takes hours, and nobody wants to slow down service. If you open up an ice machine at any fast food restaurant, you'll probably find mold, slime, and black gunk inside. In multiple studies, fast food ice has been found to contain more bacteria than toilet water. And the worst part? If an ice machine breaks or gets too dirty, most locations don't even replace it. They just buy bags of ice from the grocery store and dump it in the bin. So next time you get a drink, maybe skip the ice. You ever notice how fast food smells amazing, even when you're not hungry? That's not an accident. Fast food chains pump artificial scents into the air to make the food seem more appealing. Those grill smells? Half of them come from the grease traps burning under the grill, not the actual food. Those fresh-baked bun smells? Some locations literally have scent machines that spray bakery smells near the entrance. And if you ever walk past a drive-thru and suddenly feel like you need to stop in for food, that's because your brain has already been trained to associate that smell with eating. The psychological manipulation, and it works. If you've noticed that your favorite fast food meal costs way more than it used to, you're not alone. But here's the thing. Fast food companies aren't raising prices because their costs went up. They're raising them because they know you'll still pay. Food prices haven't increased nearly as much as menu prices. Portions are shrinking, but prices are going up anyway. They create fake shortages, like claiming supply chain issues, when they actually have plenty of stock. And every time you complain about the price going up, guess what they say? It's still cheaper than a sit-down restaurant. They're not competing with quality food. They're competing with convenience. And as long as you keep choosing fast food over cooking at home, they'll keep raising prices because they know you'll pay. Ever wonder why your food comes out so fast in the drive-thru, but takes forever inside the restaurant? That's because drive-thru orders are timed. Every location has speed goals, usually under 2 minutes per car from order to pickup. If the times get too slow, the whole store gets penalized. Workers are trained to prioritize drive-thru over in-store customers because drive-thru orders are tracked more closely. Anti-foaming agents in the fryer oil. You ever wonder why fast food fries never get too greasy or foamy, even after sitting in oil for hours? That's because they contain dimethyl polysiloxane, a silicone-based chemical also used in makeup, hair products, and even silly putty. Keeps the oil from bubbling too much, but it also stays in the food. Preservatives that keep food fresh for months. Ever see a fast food burger that never seems to rot? That's because it's loaded with preservatives and mold inhibitors that prevent bacterial growth. These chemicals make food look fresh long after it should have spoiled. Fast food isn't just unhealthy because it's high in calories. It's unhealthy because it's barely real food. A few years ago, people started talking about pink slime, a disgusting, chemically treated meat paste used in fast food. The industry denied it. They called it a conspiracy theory. But here's the truth. Pink slime is real. It's a processed meat product made from leftover trimmings, ground into a paste, and treated with ammonia to kill bacteria. It's used in some fast food burgers and nuggets, even though companies try to hide it. Some places stopped using it after public backlash, but others never did. And the worst part? They don't have to tell you. Because in the US, if the meat is processed correctly, companies aren't required to disclose how it was treated. So when you bite into a cheap burger or nugget, there's a good chance you're eating pink slime without even knowing it. Here's something nobody talks about. Fast food workers get sick constantly. Working in greasy kitchens all day wrecks your immune system. Burns, cuts, and infections happen all the time. And most workers can't afford to take time off. And the worst part? If a worker has the flu, a cold, or even food poisoning, they're still expected to work. Most fast food places don't offer paid sick leave. So if you call out sick, you lose money or even worse, your job. That's why I've seen workers coughing and sneezing over food because they weren't allowed to go home. Throwing up in the back, then coming right back to work because they had no other choice. Wiping their nose, then touching customer food without washing their hands. And if you think gloves keep things sanitary, let me tell you the truth. Customers think that when they see workers wearing gloves, it means the food is clean. It doesn't. Because here's what actually happens. Workers wear the same gloves for hours, touching raw food, cooked food, trash, and money without changing them. The gloves trap sweat and bacteria, meaning they're actually filthier than bare hands. Since gloves feel clean, workers wash their hands less often, which makes everything even worse. I've seen people handle raw meat, then immediately touch burger buns without changing gloves, pick food up off the floor, put it back on the plate and serve it. touch money, the register, their phone, then go right back to making food. Gloves don't prevent contamination. They make workers careless because they feel clean when they're actually disgusting. Fast food isn't just about food. It's also about getting you hooked on soda. Here's why. Soda is the most profitable item on the menu. It costs pennies to make but is sold for $2 to $4 a cup. The sugar keeps you hungry. High-sugar drinks spike your insulin, making you feel full for a moment, but then hungry again later. Refills make you drink more without thinking. You ever notice how soda cups keep getting bigger? That's because the more you drink, the more food you're likely to order. And if you think diet soda is a better choice, it's not. Artificial sweeteners trick your body into craving sugar, making you hungrier later. Some studies suggest diet sodas increase the risk of obesity because they keep your cravings strong. Fast food pushes soda because it's the easiest way to make more money. And for most people, it works. At the end of the day, fast food companies aren't in the business of feeding people. They're in the business of controlling habits. They make food fast enough that you don't think about what you're eating, cheap enough that you feel like it's a deal, addictive enough that you keep coming back. And they know that if they keep people trapped in the cycle, too busy to cook, too addicted to stop eating it, too convinced that it's not that bad, then nothing ever changes. Fast food isn't just unhealthy. It's a trap. And most people never escape it. By now, you probably understand fast food isn't just unhealthy. It's a machine designed to keep you coming back, no matter what. From the low-quality ingredients to the manipulative marketing, to the dirty kitchens and overworked employees, every part of the industry is built to maximize profit while minimizing effort. And the scariest part? It's all perfectly legal. Fast food companies know exactly what they're doing. And they know that as long as people keep eating it, they'll never have to change. You ever notice how fast food restaurants aren't designed for you to sit and relax? That's because they don't want you to stay too long. The seats are uncomfortable on purpose. Hard plastic chairs, small tables, awkward booth angles, it's all designed to make you leave quickly. The music is fast-paced. Studies show that people eat faster when there's upbeat music playing, so fast food chains pick songs that make you speed through your meal. There's no table service. Unlike a regular restaurant where servers check on you and make you feel welcome, fast food places just hand you a tray and expect you to leave. Why? Because the faster you eat, the less you think about what you're eating. And if you leave feeling slightly unsatisfied, there's a good chance you'll come back sooner. Every few months, fast food chains roll out new, exciting, limited-time menu items. But here's the secret. They're not doing it because they care about giving you variety. They're doing it because it's a marketing trick to get you to spend more money. Limited time creates fake urgency. You feel like you have to try it before it's gone, even if you wouldn't have ordered it otherwise. It makes old menu items feel boring. If you always get the same burger, but suddenly there's a new spicy version, your brain craves something different, even though it's the same low-quality ingredients, just repackaged. It keeps fast food trendy. People post about new menu items online, giving free advertising to a company that isn't actually offering anything new, just slightly different versions of the same food. And once the limited-time item disappears, you go back to your regular order. And just like that, they've won again. Every fast food chain markets itself as being fresher than the competition. They show commercials with farm-fresh lettuce, hand-cut potatoes, and happy cows grazing in open fields. But in reality, fast food lettuce is pre-shredded and bagged days or weeks before being used. If it starts looking bad, we spray it with water to refresh it. Tomatoes are sliced all at once and sit in bins for hours. If they get mushy, we just throw them on the bottom of the burger so you don't notice. Meat is frozen for months before being served. Even when they claim it's never frozen, the reality is it's stored in cooling units for so long that it doesn't make a difference. And those hand-cut fries some places claim to have? They're pre-cut in factories, coated in chemicals to keep them from turning brown, and shipped in massive frozen bags. But when you see the ads, it all looks so fresh and real. Because they know you'll believe it. Ever notice how fast food meals keep getting bigger, but you still don't feel full after eating them? That's because they don't just want you to eat more, they want you to keep craving more. The meals are packed with empty calories. High in sugar, high in fat, but low in actual nutrition, so you feel full for a short time, but then hungry again soon after. Sodas are designed to keep you thirsty. Fast food drinks are extra sweet and slightly salty, so they make you want to keep sipping. Even the bread is made to trick your brain. The buns are slightly sweet, giving them a dessert-like effect that makes you want more, even though you just ate an entire meal. So what do? You go back for more food. And the cycle never ends. You might have seen fast food places replacing cashiers with kiosks or testing out robot kitchens. They say it's about efficiency. But the real reason? They don't want to pay workers anymore. Self-serve kiosks mean fewer employees to pay. Automated burger flipping machines mean no need for cooks. Drive-through AI voice assistants mean cashiers can be eliminated. And what happens to all the workers who rely on these jobs to survive? They don't care. Because the goal was never to create jobs. It was to maximize profit. And as soon as machines can do the job even slightly well enough, fast food won't need people anymore. After 2 years in the fast food industry, here's what I know for sure. Fast food isn't just bad, it's designed to be bad. Everything from the ingredients to the marketing is made to trick you into eating more, spending more, and coming back. Most workers don't care about the food because they're too tired to care. Fast food burns out its employees so fast that nobody stays long enough to fix the system. And those who do stay? They stop fighting back because they have no choice. Fast food companies don't want you to think, they want you to act on impulse. That's why they push drive-thrus, mobile orders, and flashy limited-time deals. They want you to buy first, question later. Even when people know the truth, they keep eating it. I've told friends and family everything I've shared in this story. Some of them were shocked. Some said they'd never eat fast food again. But a few weeks later, they were back in the drive-thru. And I get it. Because even I still crave it sometimes. That's how deep the psychology of fast food goes. It's not just convenience. It's conditioning, and unless people wake up to it, fast food will never change, because it doesn't have to. As long as people keep eating it, the system keeps winning. After everything I've shared, you might be wondering, why does fast food keep getting worse, and why do people keep eating it? I've asked myself that question 1,000 times, because even after spending 2 years in the industry, even after seeing how bad it really is, I still find myself craving it sometimes. And I know I'm not the only one. We all know fast food is unhealthy, processed, and full of chemicals. We know the workers are overworked, the kitchens are dirty, and the companies don't care. We know we should eat better, cook at home, and avoid this trap. So why is it so hard to quit? Cooking takes effort. Grocery shopping takes time. Making a healthy meal takes planning. Fast food is instant, cheap, and requires zero thought. And the industry knows this. That's why they focus on speed over quality, addictive flavors over real nutrition, convenience over health. And it works, because when you're tired, hungry, or just don't feel like cooking, fast food is always there. Fast food companies aren't going to fix themselves. As long as they keep making billions of dollars, they have zero reason to care about food quality, worker conditions, the health of their customers. They know people will keep eating it. And as long as people keep choosing fast food, they'll keep cutting corners to maximize profit. So the real question is, are we okay with that? Let's be real, fast food isn't going anywhere. No matter how bad it gets, people will still eat it. So what are our options? Be more aware. If you still eat fast food, at least know what you're eating. Pay attention to ingredients, cooking practices, and how often you're eating it. Don't let the industry trick you into thinking it's healthier than it really is. Demand better. If people stopped eating low-quality food, companies would be forced to change. The only reason some fast food chains stopped using certain chemicals or added healthier options is because customers pushed back. If we demand real food, eventually they'll have to listen. Support better alternatives. Not all fast food is the same. Some places actually try to use real ingredients. If you have to eat out, try to choose places that care more about food quality. The more we support good food, the less power we give to the worst offenders. I've shared my experience, now I want to know yours. Have you ever worked in fast food? What was it like? Have you had a bad experience with food quality? Do you still eat fast food even after knowing the truth? Why or why not? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just my story. It's something that affects all of us. And maybe, just maybe, if we talk about it enough, people will finally start to wake up. Honestly, I don't think so. Not unless people start caring more about what they eat than what's fast and cheap. Not unless workers start getting treated better. Not unless we stop accepting good enough and start demanding real food. Because until then, nothing will change. Fast food companies will keep lying. People will keep buying. And the cycle will continue. Unless we decide to break it. So the real question is, are we willing to